Today we will discuss about the Banking Ombudsman Scheme. Banking Ombudsman Scheme is a redressal mechanism for the individuals regarding their problems or deficiencies of the banking services in India. The major functions of Banking Ombudsman are given here. In India, the Banking Ombudsman Scheme was announced in June 1995 under the Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act 1949. It is an expeditious and inexpensive resolution of customer complaints about the deficiencies in banking services. It is expeditious and inexpensive resolution of customer complaints mechanism. All scheduled banks having business in India except RRBs and scheduled primary cooperative banks were covered under the scheme in 1995. It was about the 1995 scheme when it was introduced, and it started function in June 14, 1995. And accordingly appointed ombudsman on a full-time basis in 3 centers: Mumbai, Delhi and Bhopal. That is, the scheme was introduced in 1995. The word ombudsman in general means a public official who is appointed to investigate the citizens' complaints against the administration. That is, this ombudsman means, it's a general term, a public official who is appointed to investigate the citizens' complaint against the administration. He is to intervene for the ordinary citizen in his dealings with the complex machinery of establishment. In India, any person whose grievance against a bank is not resolved to his satisfaction by that bank within a period of 1 month can approach banking ombudsman if his complaint pertains to any of the matter specified in the scheme. That is, if any customer has any problem with the bank and if it is not resolved within 1 month with that bank, then that person can approach the banking ombudsman, and if that is included in the specified items of the scheme. And the vision and goal of the banking ombudsman scheme is given here. The vision and goals are to act as a visible and credible dispute resolution agency for common person utilizing services provided by the entities regulated by the RBI. The first one is to act as a visible and credible dispute resolution agency for the common person who are utilizing the services provided by the entities that are regulated by the RBI. And their goals are to ensure grievance redressal of users of services provided by the entities regulated by the RBI. It should be in an inexpensive, expeditious and in a fair manner. Second goal is provide policy feedback and suggestions to the Reserve Bank of India towards framing appropriate and timely guidelines for banks to improve the level of customer services to strengthen their internal grievance redressal system. First one, ensure grievance redressal mechanism for customers. Second one, suggest feedback and other suggestion to RBI regarding the measures needed for improving the redressal systems of the bank. Third one is enhance awareness of the ombudsman scheme of RBI. Fourth one is quick and fair non-discriminatory redressal of grievances through the use of information technology system, comprehensive and easily accessible database, and enhanced capabilities of staffs through capacity building. That is quick and fair redressal of the grievances. These are the important goals. First one, ensure grievance redressal for the users. Second one, provide feedback and suggestion to RBI with respect to the improvement of the redressal mechanism of the bank. Third one, enhance the awareness of the ombudsman scheme. Fourth one, facilitate quick and fair redressal of grievances. The major area of their functioning will be deficiency in banking services. Second one, sanctions of the loans and advances. Then third one, any other matter as may be specified by there is a list of grievances that the list of grievances are given by the scheme, and if our grievances comes under that list, we can approach the ombudsman. And the procedure is like the process of banking ombudsman is like this. The scheme envisages an expeditious and satisfactory disposal of the customer complaint in a time-bound manner. A banking ombudsman, on the receipt of any complaint, endeavours to promote, if necessary, a settlement of complaint by agreement between the complainant and the bank named in the complaint through conciliation and mediation. That is, they try their best to solve the complaint by an agreement. For the purpose of promoting settlement of the complaints, the banking ombudsman has been allowed to follow such procedure as he may consider appropriate, and he is not bound by any legal rules of evidences. He can adopt his own redressal mechanism to settle the complaints. If a complaint is not settled by the agreement within a period of 1 month from the date of receipt of the complaint, or such further period as the banking ombudsman may consider necessary, he may pass an award after affording the parties reasonable opportunities to present their case. He shall be guided by the evidence placed before him by the parties, the principles of banking law and practices, directions, instruction and guidelines issued by the RBI from time to time, and such other factors which in his opinion are necessary in the interest of justice. If the complaint is not settled by an agreement within a period of from the mandate of the receipts of the complaint, he may pass an award after affording the parties reasonable opportunities to present their cases. The history of banking ombudsman is given here. The word ombudsman originated from Sweden, which in 1809 established the position of the justly ombudsman to oversee government administration. It denotes loosely a citizen's defender or representatives of the people. New Zealand became the first English-speaking country to appoint the Ombudsman in 1962. The office of the UK Ombudsman was established in 1967. The first Ombudsman in Australia was appointed in Western Australia in 1971, and in Victoria in 1972, Queensland and North South Wales in 1974. The UK's Financial Ombudsman Services is an ombudsman established in 2001 as a result of the Financial Service and Market Access 2000 to help to settle disputes between the consumers and UK-based business providing financial services such as banks, building societies, insurance companies, investment firms, etc. The Narasimha Committee on Banking and Financial Sector Reform recommended the introduction of the Banking Ombudsman Scheme 1995 as part of the Financial Sector Policy and System Reform in 91-92 to 95-96, and the RBI accepted the recommendation as part of the banking policy, and Dr. C. Rangarajan, Governor, announced the Banking Ombudsman Scheme on June 14, 1995 in India. And the scheme was notified under Section 35A of Banking Regulation Act 1995. The objective of the scheme, as we have seen, is mainly the settlement of the dispute through conciliation and mutual agreement between customer and the bank, with the banking ombudsman acting as the mediator. The underlying advantage of the scheme being administered by the RBI is that it gives insight to the many systemic issues which act as inputs while framing appropriate regulatory guidelines. This is an input for framing policies related to the banking in India to the RBI. It's very important channel for redressal grievances by the general public against the banking services. It does not host the jurisdictions of other court. Hence, aggrieved people do not hesitate in using the mechanism of banking ombudsman as a primary forum for resolution of the disputes regarding the bank. It is not under the jurisdiction of the other courts. The banking ombudsman is in a position to do justice in an individual case, as he is not bound by the precedents and proceedings as adopted by him or her are summary in nature while resolving the disputes between the customer and the bank. And now the number of bank office increased to 22, and the complaint increased to nearly 1,95,901 as on 2018-19. And the Banking Ombudsman is a senior official appointed by the Reserve Bank of India to redress the customer complaints against the deficiency in certain banking services. The Banking Ombudsman is a senior official appointed by the RBI, and it takes into account the grievances of urban cooperative, regional, rural banks, small finance bank, payment banks, etc., in addition to other commercial banks. In 2018, the scheme was made applicable to non-financial companies also. It is administered by the RBI through 213 banking ombudsman covering all the states and union territories of India. And the cost of running this scheme, including revenue and capital expenditure, is borne by the RBI. In 2018-19, as we have seen, RBI extended the Banking Ombudsman scheme for non-banking financial companies to non-deposit non-bank financial companies, launched the Banking Ombudsman, and also launched the Banking Ombudsman scheme for digital transaction, one-stop portal for the lodgement of grievances, and launched the internal ombudsman schemes, which mandated banks with more than 10 branches to appoint an internal ombudsman to serve as an objective review mechanism to support their internal customer grievances retrieval self-structure. That is, now the scope has widened to non-bank financial companies as well as to the digital transactions also. That means it is a grievance redressal mechanism. The area on which we can file the complaints are given in this table. And these two tables gives the area on which we can file the complaints. And the number of bank offices and the number of complaints are given here. We can see the number of bank office increased from 15 in 2005 to 22 in 2018-19, and the number of complaints increased from 1,05,050 to 1,95,500. The number of complaints has increased from 10,560 to 1,95,901. This about the Banking Ombudsman scheme. This is a grievance redressal mechanism to the customers regarding their banking services.